Welcome to Sharper Square, presented by Hard Rock Bet. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. This is the show that makes the squares sharper and makes the wise guys pay attention. I am Chad Millman, and I am joined, as always, by my BFF, my companion, my compadre, my co-host, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, feeling much better today. Not as angry, not on edge. I was very, very on edge on Tuesday today. I feel relaxed. I feel much better. All these bad losses shall pass, and thank God that one finally passed.
We did have some concern from commenters and tweeters and texters about your state of mind on Tuesday, so I'm glad to hear that's unprompted.
I was trying not to show it. I was so mad and miserable. I did my best. Hopefully it didn't come across as just a very bitter old man.
No, it came across as a fan, which at the end of the day, that's what we are. We do have one, Simon. We have one major correction to make on the show. Because last Tuesday, I said to you that one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, is when Steve Martin's character and John Candy's character are in the back of a truck riding through Kansas in the winter to get home for Thanksgiving. And Steve Martin says to John Candy, "How cold do you think it is?" And John Candy deadpans and just says, "1." And you responded with, "Surely you can't be serious."
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now look, I don't know what I was thinking in the moment. In the moment, I knew that line was from Airplane because, like anyone my age, I watched that movie in my VCR, in the VCR in my parents' room on VHS 8,000 times. And like anyone else my age, they probably paused it in one very particular scene when everyone believes the plane is going down. There's one moment that I know everyone paused every single time. Shame on me. Because in the moment I thought, well, maybe they parodied that line in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I can't remember, but I knew it was from Airplane and I didn't correct you. So shame on me. It's shameful. But here's the worst part. Matt Mitchell, whose Spotify Wrapped age is probably 85 years older than mine, lives in Milwaukee. No joke. Lives next door to the Zucker brothers, who wrote Airplane, directed The Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen. He can literally see the house they grew up in because it is next door to where he lives. Even he didn't catch it. For that, we owe everybody an apology.
Both are great movies.
Both are great movies. I mean, look, as they say in Airplane, Shay and I, they bought their ticket. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash. Everybody who listens to this podcast knew what they were getting into. Shame on me. Shame on Matt for not correcting it. Shame on the listeners for signing up for this dreck anyways. This is our Thursday, Week 15 episode, Simon. We're going to get down closer on our quest for the final 5 picks. Reminder, subscribe to Sharper Square on YouTube, Apple Pods, Spotify. Let's get into this thing. Every week, we're going to give our picks. Every week, we're going to get calls from our friends in the Wise Guy community. They are going to agree. They are going to disagree. They are never going to be shy about sharing their opinions. Simon, it is time for Sharp Calls.
I have to answer this phone.
What do we got, brother?
Yeah, let's start with the Thursday. A couple of pros I really respect are all over Atlanta. I can't join them. I get where they're coming from. You know, just Baker doesn't blow teams out. They tend to play really close games. And even when they're a much better team, it seems like they let these bad teams back into it. So I'm gonna end up just probably taking a high position on the money line and throw it in with some other type of bet. Put them with the Rams or whoever, the Eagles. But I guess the spread, I'll stay away from the Bucks. I have too much respect for these guys, and I get what they're saying. Right? It's a unique spot for Atlanta. I think they've lost like 5 straight. They're just totally undervalued, and just like everyone else, I still kind of overvalue this Bucks team, who is also feel like they haven't covered in a month. So
look, they are getting Mike Evans back. And
Yeah.
I do think there's a difference between undervalued, and we'll get to that. I apologize for interrupting sharp calls. We'll get to that. Undervalued, between teams that are undervalued because of bad spots and teams that are undervalued or properly valued because they're just not very good anymore.
Another game I was on the other side of. Tons of love for New England, which I expected that. I knew there's going to be a lot of professional love, and that's another game we're going to dive into. A ton of underlying numbers and trends that do favor this Patriots team in many ways. And the Bills touched +1.5 at a couple books yesterday, and then got hammered back to -1.5. So it's pretty drawn. The line is in the sand here, where I think it's going to hold at what it is now. The professionals obviously have taken a stand that tons of pros out there waiting for the Bills to go to a dog, like I have been talking about, and they hit that number, and it feels like it's going to stay where it is. So yeah, tons of love by the pros for this Patriots team. For the games they agree with us, Chad. Love the Rams. I mean, we're going to talk about that one. Green Bay, tons of love for them. The Chiefs, tons of love for them. And shockingly, and what I thought would be a bigger spot by the professionals, it's not as much love on that Saints team, which I really like that number. I think it is just a unique spot where you have the Saints coming off such an emotional road win.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't trust that with this young quarterback, but we talked about it. I'm going to give out all the numbers about Carolina and them being favorites, but it feels like a very unique spot. It's a tough game to handicap for sure. So the last one to round it out, tons of love for this Bengals side. And unfortunately, we're never going to get the 3. I thought we would get back to the 3. Touched 1.5. Then Joe Burrow had this very somber interview. I know it sounds stupid, but literally you can watch in real time the number go back to 2.5 after his interview, which I thought was very funny. People are taking a position simply off a really somber interview. So those ones jumped out. The Chicago-Cleveland game is very split between professionals. And, the dogs this week, there's some really big ones like the Raiders, the Seahawks game with the Colts. Like, I know pros are taking positions on those big dogs. The only one I really feel like they're really confident is that Raiders number. They're taking it just because we'll talk about that game if we need to. But basically, this Eagles defense have played like 70 snaps per game, 3 straight weeks. Now they're coming off a short week overtime game coming home. Statistically, is not a good spot. But yeah, really interesting week because of all these big spreads. And maybe I'm missing it, right? I'm not really loving these big dogs, but tons of pros I've talked to, they really like a lot of these big dog numbers.
It's interesting. I'm with you on the big dogs. It hasn't been any of my focus this week, other than that Raiders game. I wanted to find a way to get the Jets. Not going to get there. Wanted to find a way to get the Colts. Not going to get there. We will get to one of the bigger numbers, not the biggest of the numbers. But before we get to our first game, 3 quick things about the free Sharper Square Pro Football Pick'em contest, which is officially live at sharpersquare.thevolume.com. Number 1 is a reminder. It's only 1 entry per person. If you submit multiple entries, try to manipulate the system, you will be ineligible for the grand prize. Number 2, if you're in this contest and don't think you can win, that is crazy, because last year our contest had a lot more people. It wasn't won by a professional gambler. Okay, it wasn't won by some hotshot handicapper. It was won by a rancher from Bow Bells, North Dakota, who came on the show. Lovely dude. Said he was going to use all of his prize money to buy more cattle. Good for him. The price of cattle has 3x'd since we did that show. I hope the guy is just swimming in cow value right now in Bow Bells, North Dakota. 3 is a question from producer Matt. Our contest is 9 weeks long, 5 picks per week. This is 45 available wins in total. Out of 45, how many wins do you, our listeners, think it will take to win the grand prize? Matt's prediction he's expecting someone to go on a bit of a heater, is that the top finisher will end with a record of 35-10, 78%. So, all right, let's get into it. You talked about Kansas City, Los Angeles Chargers visiting. We first started talking about this one, I think on Sunday it was at 3.5. By Tuesday it was at 4. It's now at 5. A lot of other books are 5.5. By the middle of yesterday, I completely came around to your position. I just decided, A, everything you were saying was right. There is going to be extreme weather. The Chargers have so many offensive line issues. So much bad luck is befalling the Chiefs, whether it's bobbled passes, bad calls, all the stuff that went their way for 17 straight close games. So I'm with you, brother. I'm on the Chiefs. I bet him. The line I got was 4.5. I did not get the 3.5 or the 4. I got the 4.5 because I waited too long, but I still went in on it. I'm with you. And I love it. Let's put it in the contest.
Yeah, in normal circumstances, we would be all over the Chargers. This is an automatic Chargers play. This is a Chargers line, and Justin Herbert as a dog, very profitable. I believe. I'll look through the numbers here, but we kind of blindly bet him in this exact spot, right? But this is what we talked about. This is unique. This is a man that only has one hand. Without his offensive line, even the backups got hurt in the Eagles game. Like they lost, I think, their third string right tackle in the Eagles game. So just a nightmare. But again, I want to give out these numbers just because in the future, when I tell people you blindly bet Herbert in the spot, it's because he tends to be really great as a dog in the spot. So when the line's above 3.5 in his career, 11-2-1 against the spread, Herbert, which is really impressive. You think back to what's the matchup with Andy Reid and Harbaugh, he's 4-0 against the spread when he plays against Andy Reid in his career. So they do have their number, this Chiefs team, but we're talking about a unique spot here in the fact of what we just talked about, right? It's all the injuries to Herbert and this team, and even going back and rewatching the Eagles game, Herbert, tried to do so much with his legs, but even when he couldn't, he was trying to pass the ball downfield. His guys just could not get any separation, and that was really stood out to me. Is they're just wide receivers are not getting open for him, and Keenan Allen does the best he can. He can get open in a really quick window, but he's not really someone that's going to burn someone with his legs. Obviously, he's someone that's much older now, and Ladd McConkey's been kind of disappointing this season for them. So it feels like a really bad spot for this Chargers team. And you talked a little about it. This Chiefs team. It's got to flip at some point, right? They basically won 17 consecutive one-score games, and now this year they're 1-6, 0-7 against the spread. So it's not the best, Chad. We're betting to a little bit of a scary spot, but I do have to trust the fact that we have a good number. It's still under 6. People listening to this can still get under 6, where I think it's a good number. And I just have major questions about this Chargers offense with the injury to Herbert. The man is one-handed, and he's going to be outdoors in the elements. I feel like it's too much to overcome, Chad. So, yeah, I feel gross doing it, but it feels like this is the exact spot we have to take the Chiefs.
I don't feel that gross. It's weird.
Even after all those numbers, Herbert's a covering god as a dog, man.
I don't feel that gross because this team, this offensive line is in such bad shape. And we've seen what the Chiefs can do when they're able to get pressure and how dominant Chris Jones can be, and I feel like they've hit rock bottom. It is a team of champions that has hit rock bottom. The look on Travis Kelce's face, we talk about somber Joe Burrow in his press conference. Somber Travis Kelce, I find him to be eminently likable. I think he's handled his career brilliantly. He seems to be very well liked by his teammates, and he just looked so sad and a prideful athlete trying to figure out what the fuck is going on and why am I not making any of the plays I used to be able to make. And I think that they're going to figure something out in this game that allows them to execute in a way where they're not going to be making the same mistakes, especially in conditions that will favor them. So, yeah, the performance by that Chargers offensive line was so bad. They're going to need to pull out all the stops to protect Justin Herbert in this game.
Yeah.
I'm with you. You and I compadres. You know where else we're compadres? Buffalo Bills 1-point favorites over the New England Patriots. At the end of the day, it's a bet on Josh Allen. Every scenario you can think of, you talk about trends. Josh Allen off a loss. Josh Allen is a favorite of less than 3. All of it favors Josh Allen. Look back to their game on October 5th, which is when the Patriots were really starting to roll. It's when people started to recognize, oh, maybe this team isn't terrible. It's what got them into the position they're in. There were so many mistakes by the Bills in that game. They easily could have won that game. That was a field goal game. And you're still getting a Patriots team now that is at the peak of its value, that has everyone behind them, that is still missing key components on the offensive line, whose rush defense is getting a little bit worse statistically as the season goes on. I can see why this game is split between the wise guys, but my opinion stands. Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think we're both just of the mentality. It's really us having blind faith and trust in Josh Allen in this exact spot against the young and upcoming team. And this is how things do happen, though, in football, right? The team does eventually break through. The person who dominated the division tends to relinquish that powers, and this is a unique spot for this Patriots team. And just when I dove into the trends, too, I couldn't believe how much they favor Vrabel. I knew Vrabel was good after a bye week. What do you think his record is after a bye week, Chad? I didn't know it was this good.
17-0.
I wish Vrabel had been around that long. He is 6-1 straight up and against the spread off a bye week, which that's really impressive for a guy that spent his first 7 of those years in Tennessee. So that's probably the most unique stat to me of him, is just the fact that he gets his guys up for these type of matchups. And so when I dove into even more, basically this exact spot for teams, which again, it's a unique spot. It's they've won 10 straight games, the Patriots. They are now a home dog at home. It's only happened like 2 times in the last 20 years, basically, Chad. And the only other time it's happened with 2 starters was Pittsburgh. It was Roethlisberger against Tom Brady, and Brady basically put up 41. I think he beat him by 13 points. So it was a unique spot, right? Brady was on the road as a favorite against Ben Roethlisberger as a home dog after, a bunch of wins. And I remember that game, right? I just remember the killer bees and how much hype there was. And Brady just went in there and just dominated that game. So we're kind of banking on that here with Josh Allen, right? I think the general public is joining us. I thought this would be a more public side, this Patriots team. It really has not worked out that way with the money. And, the more I dove into it, the more I was like, oh my God, all this stuff is pointing me to this Patriots side. But I just have to trust Josh Allen, the fact that he did lose them early in the year. And it's a unique thing where he tends to not lose 2 games in a row. And we're about to find out what's going to be the trendsetter now for the next 10 years between the Drake Maye, Josh Allen matchup. Because right now, Drake Maye is 3-0 against the spread against Josh Allen, which is pretty wild to think, because last year the Patriots were terrible. They were terrible last year. And the fact that he's covered both games last year and he started this year with a cover and a win outright on the road in Buffalo, maybe I am undervaluing this Patriots team continuously, but I just can't get over they have, like Chad said, they have so many weaknesses and holes right now that can be exploited. They just have not faced any teams that can exploit those weaknesses. So I love this one, just like you. I love the Bills. I think we're getting a great number, but I could not get over those Vrabel stats after a bye week. Maybe I'm stepping into here, but I think this guy's due for regression to the mean with those type of numbers. That's just insane, those kind of numbers.
We're both stepping in it. This is a season-making game for either of these teams. It's a playoff. It's a playoff game. It really is. So is Josh Allen the reigning MVP? Do they have a dominant running game? Does it travel well? All those things still exist.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet on Josh Allen. We are going to bet on Josh Allen. The question is, will we bet on the Arizona Cardinals, who are that 9.5, Simon, is just holding on against the Houston Texans. It's juiced. I think by Sunday it's going to get to 10. I think by Sunday when the public rolls in and starts betting, we're going to see that number increase. Still sitting at 9.5, though. classic buy low, sell high game, right? The line has not budged, even though all the bets are coming in on the Texans. That tells you that there's resistance from the wise guys. They're betting on the Cardinals. I have not played this game yet. I'm still waiting for it to get to 10. I don't know if it'll make our contest. I think there's a couple other underdogs we like a little bit more. But are you tempted at all by the reeling, cratering, confused, lacking in defense, struggling Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, and this could be the type of game where if you don't really love either side, you can, like we've talked about a little bit at the beginning of the year, it's a good bet to just blindly bet the under in these Texas games just because their offense is so questionable and their defense is so dominant. And, this year has lived up to that, right? They're 10-3 to the under this season. Even going back his last 22 starts, CJ, he's 17-5 to the under. So if you don't like either side, I guess that's the move. But I do really like the Cardinals here. I think off the top of my head, I can think of one other time the Texans were this big of a favorite with CJ. I believe they were 8 or an 8.5 point favorite against the Tennessee Titans. They lost that game outright. So just a little perspective of like, okay, the reason that you haven't seen the Texans this big of a favorite, especially with CJ, is just they tend to not be deserving of it or perform. And you bettors have taken that where it's like anytime CJ's been a big dog or a big favorite, I should say, he's been bet down. That's why this number he's never had a number this big. And this is a unique spot where that's how dead the Cardinals are to the general public. They're just totally off of this team, totally leaving them for dead. And I'm just looking at the numbers. Yes, this is not a good matchup for Brissett, right? You dive into it. This is going to be a game where he's going to be thrown off his point a lot, where he wants to throw from in the pocket. He will be moved a lot. That's just going to be the deal with this Texas team. They just have one of the best pass rushers in all football, and we've seen that all season, right? They just have been dominant rushing the quarterback. So, like Chad said, I'm not going to force this one in. I do like the Cardinals, but I'm with you. I'm still taking the 9.5, but the 10, that's where I feel more confident just because I just have such leaking confidence right now. Not so much in Brissett, but just the head coach. I just feel like he's totally lost his locker room in the Cardinals, and I'm interested to see how they end this next 4 games because you've seen a lot of reports, a lot of really respectable guys in the media saying he might be out. Like Gannon might be done. Him and Kyler might be both out the door at come the end of the season. So it's going to be interesting how this team plays for them for the next 4 games after getting just absolutely blown out their past few.
We do owe the people a brass balls. So we can think about this one. I have an idea. You and I forgot to discuss this before we came on the air. I have an idea of what I think brass balls should be. It's not this game. I'll be curious to see if you and I agree on it. So let's continue. Let's put a pin in that. It's just a reminder for both of us. Cincinnati, 2.5 point underdogs at Baltimore. I don't think this is going to make it, but it was a newsworthy game to begin with because it's Cincinnati and Baltimore, and it's just a great matchup. But it's also a great matchup of teams that are reeling. And I'm sorry, it's Baltimore or Cincinnati, by the way, not Cincinnati at Baltimore. And I can't really get there on either team right now. Joe is so sad. Lamar hasn't really been playing as well as we expected him to. The defenses for both teams are pretty bad. Like, I find no edge here. I definitely don't want to play it in the contest. I just wanted to bring it up because it's in sharp calls and Joe's feeling blue. He's not Joe Cool. He's Joe Blue.
Yeah, and I talked a little bit about it. Shame on me. I know I usually don't like just keep continuously betting guys who are underdogs because eventually, like you just said, it's probably going to go the other way. But Joe Burrow, as a dog, he just covers. And I've given out those numbers, especially when it gets above 3. And this number is heading that way. Like, since we've been talking, this number is moving to 3 at a couple books. So I talked about this number went down to 1.5. Joe Burrow gave the most somber, depressing interview ever, talking about he's not having fun anymore and he doesn't know if he loves the game as much as he used to. Now the number is moving up to 3. So I'll check. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's an injury I don't know about. But everything I've seen, this feels like 2 teams going in totally different directions. Like this Ravens team, we keep thinking they're going to figure it out and be that team we saw these last 5-6 years, right? They're going to figure it out. But you keep looking at it, the underlying number, it's just Lamar is not as good. He simply is not as good as he's been in previous years. And yeah, that game, unlucky, right? They probably should have won it, decided by the referees, whatever you want to say. They were not going to cover that game. So that's another game where the market overvalued them. And feels like it's going the same way here. Like if this is now up to 3, I kind of love the Bengals. If they get the 3.5 in our contest, we're going to have a real conversation come Sunday. So just looking at all the different metrics, even when Lamar and this Ravens team were dominant, absolutely dominant, they've struggled against the NFC North. He's 5-9 against the spread against his division. When he's on the road, he's 3-5 against the spread in his division. So Lamar, through his dominant years, he's always struggled with his own divisional opponents. And we saw them just play, a couple of weeks ago. The Bengals are going to be able to move the ball. We have no doubt about that. Is Lamar going to show up and move the ball against this Bengals defense that is super suspect? He should be able to. Yeah, but I think Joe's going to keep us in this one. So I'm with you. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to force it 2.5 because I do think people listening to this, you'll keep getting a better number, and there are 3s out there. So right now, 2.5, I'm with you. I wouldn't make this into the contest, but 3.5, that's going to be a real conversation with Joe. He's just, as a dog, I talk about a dog bigger than 3. He's 19-3 against the spread. So that's just an incredible number, and he's 2-0 this season since he's been back as a dog bigger than 3.
Simon, the Cleveland Browns are visiting the Chicago Bears, and that number has stayed at 7.5. Haven't bet it yet. Let me ask you this, though. It's going to be so cold in Chicago. Both teams are going to want to run the ball. This is not going to be we said this last week. It's not going to be a Shadeur Sanders game. It's going to be a Cleveland Browns defense game. This week, it's not going to be a Shadeur Sanders game. It's going to be a Quinshon Judkins game. It's going to be an amazing rush offense against one of the best rush defenses. It's going to be what can be an effective rush offense against in the Bears, one of the worst rush defenses. Do we ignore the line value because we are in love with the Bears? Do we not play a game that we would 9 times out of 10 play because we lost with the Browns the past week by betting on their defense? Isn't this what we do on this show, backing the Browns?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I've come around. I'm going to back the Browns. I don't feel good about it. I
don't either.
Yeah, I'm just worried they've quit on their coach and this season. And we're basically betting this one because the Browns, as bad as they've been this year, they've won a bunch of games outright when the spread is above 7.5. Like, they've been pretty dominant for some reason when they're big underdogs. And as a Bears fan, this is by far the biggest spread of Caleb Williams' career. He's never been a 7.5 point favorite. So unique spot. The Trends obviously hate the Chicago in this spot, just like they did last week, right? I gave you those stats. I think they were 1-11 against the spread against Green Bay. Well, it's not much better the week after they play Green Bay. So since 2019, Green Bay won 8-1 against the spread after they played the Packers. When they're a favorite the following game, they're 0-3 against the spread. So, not ideal. It seems like the type of thing where they put so much emotion, so much into that divisional game. Makes sense, right? Especially now they're playing the Browns. Why wouldn't they have a letdown game, right? This is not a game it's going to be tough to get up to, let alone when Chad said they're going to be walking outside. It's going to be hitting them in the face, minus 10 degrees and wind chill. It's going to be a truly miserable experience, that game. So I love it. Like, this is my favorite type of football games, the old school frozen field, and it's just the best. So I'll be with you on this Cleveland side. They're just, like I said, they're making me leak confidence. I just can't believe how bad the defense was against Tennessee last week against the run. It was just alarming because they've been so dominant this season. So try not to overreact. We expect the Cleveland to bounce back here, especially defensively. But my God, I'm happy if we can avoid this one out of the contest, Jeff.
I don't have it making the contest right now. I think there's other games. It's also an interesting brass balls opportunity. It's not where I want to land on brass balls. I got another one that's a contender, but I just want to raise it that we both like the Browns. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but it's there. It's there for the taking, and it's what we would normally do. Detroit visiting Los Angeles Rams. Talked about it on Sharp Calls. This was a game you quietly talked about on Tuesday with like a weird... We've been doing this a long time. And I get, like, you mention a game, you say it in a way that feels like you almost don't want me to hear it. Like, you like it so much, you just want to say you like it because you're obligated to say truthful information and your honest opinions on this show, but you'd prefer nobody hear it at all. That was my takeaway from the Rams. The Rams were at 5.5. That line's moving. It's moving in the Rams' direction. It's at 6 at Hard Rock. I've seen some 6.5s pop up. Am I misinterpreting this? Am I putting too much into it?
No, not at all. Again, this is a weird job. It's a little bit of a juggling act. I have people that pay. I know people don't believe it, but people do pay insane amount of money for my picks. I always have to give them the best of the number, especially if I like a game a lot. So yeah, it was a little bit of tongue in cheek. I showed my hand a little bit that I really love this spot. I didn't want to say too much though, because I didn't want people to miss the best of the number, which it's going now. Like you said, it's hitting 6 almost every book. So hopefully my clients got it. Hopefully fans of the show got it. But yeah, I love this spot. I love the situation. This Lions team, sure, can they cover and win this game like they have the last 4 years with Campbell and the Goff combo? Yeah, but we've been talking about it. It's not hitting like it used to. There is something different about this team. And other than just the injuries, I feel like we've seen the Ben Johnson effect really affect this team. They're just not the same offensively, especially when you have a guy like Dan Campbell going for it every time he can on 4th and 2, 4th and 3, not even thinking about situationally where they're on the field or what the best move is. And I can give all the stats if you want about how great Goff is as a dog, right? We know him and Campbell, 4-point underdog or more, 17-3 against the spread. They cover in this exact spot. It's what they've done these last 4 years together, and I get that, but I've talked about it. I just think there's something different, and it's McVay's month. It's December. McVay, since 2021, 16-3 against the spread in December. The matchup, when I really break it down, look into it, I just see so many advantages for this Rams team to attack this offensive line of Detroit. On the flip side, praise to the Detroit run defense. I think they haven't had a 100 rusher all season, and they've been really dominant in that aspect, but I think it's because their secondary is so bad. Why would teams run it where you can just pick up chunk yards every time you drop back? And I think Puka right now is, if he's not the number 1 receiver in the league because of Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's number 2 in all the categories. He has the most receptions, like yards, all that stuff. He's right behind JSN. And on the flip side, we've talked about Devontae Adams. He's probably the 4th or 5th best receiver in football. He's got like 14 touchdowns. So it's like, talk about a dream scenario for the Stafford in this matchup, indoors at home. Could she be in a shootout, right? If you want to take a position in that way, but I just feel like this type of game where they're going to try to take away Gibbs, make Goff beat him downfield, and we've seen it. Goff has not done well with pressure in his face, and this is the exact type of game he'll get that. So, yeah, I honestly wanted to make this our bet, but unfortunately, it's moved too much. Like it's -6, which I'm still betting the 6. But if this was 5.5, Chad, I think we probably could have agreed on this being the pick for the day. But it's tough.
Yeah. It's not going to be brass balls. I think we're going to have to do something even brassier and ballsier for brass balls. But we both love the Rams here. We both bet into the Rams, 5.5. I hope everyone was listening on Tuesday. Got the 5.5. If you can get the 6, great. Get the 6. Like, you didn't get the best of it, but it's still a good number. The matchup here, to me, you just said, is the key. I don't know what defense the Rams, the Lions are going to play. Like, they tried playing zone. It was a little bit more effective against the Cowboys, but the Rams are not the Cowboys. Like, they can do it all. Matthew Stafford is so good right now. Puka Nacua is so good right now. They're playing that 13 personnel that can deceive teams in so many different ways. They can power run game. They can find guys open in the middle of that zone if that's what the Lions decide to play, which they really haven't. They've done it once this whole season. They're a man-to-man team, and Stafford eats up man-to-man. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario defensively for the Lions, who have lost one of their best defensive players in Brian Branch. Carolina at the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints +2.5. This was Simon Says. There were some 3s available right after we got off the air on Tuesday. For much of Tuesday, there were some 3s there. It's back down to 2.5. I don't think it's going to last. I don't think the 3s will. I think it could get back to 3, but I don't think the 3s are going to last. We hate betting against the Panthers. We hate it, especially when they got a chance to take control of the NFC South, the darlings, the team that we've loved for years. But we're both on the Saints here.
Yeah, I think threes will pop just because the books, they're getting so much Panthers money. I think they're going to need some Saints money, and the only way they're going to get it is by popping that three, right? Not people aren't going to force and take the 2.5 until Sunday when they really need to, and it's last minute. I think throughout the week you should see some threes pop up, and it's just because who's betting the Saints, right? It's kind of a spot you don't really want to be back them, like from the general public's perspective, because they just won a really tough divisional game now coming home. Anybody can look at these numbers, but I was alarmed when the buddy sent me these numbers about the Saints team. And I gave you the stat, right? They're last week on the road in divisional as an underdog. They're 8-0, now 9-0 on the road. God, their home stats are terrible, Chad. I cannot believe how bad these stats are. Since 2020 as an underdog at home, the Saints 4-17 straight up, 5-16 against the spread. That's the worst mark in the NFL of any team.
Right, but Simon, what is Bryce Young on the road as a favorite?
Yeah, he's never covered. Yeah,
it doesn't
I'm
exist.
With you there. I just that was just a simple Saints stat of how bad they've been. So I love this one. Like you just said, it's two immovable objects meeting, and something's got to give, right? So you said it, Bryce Young in his early career, he's only been a favorite so many times, and 11 times he's been a straight up favorite. He is not covered or won any of those games. He's 0-11. So you're right. It's a unique spot. I just want people to get the three just because of how bad this Saints team bit. We're going to need every point we can get. But I've talked about this Saints team, surprisingly, even going back to 2020, they've always matched up really well against the Panthers. It doesn't matter if it was Derek Carr or Taysom Hill at quarterback. They've just had a rotation of guys. They've covered. They played really well against this Panthers team. So unique spot, like you said. It's a game I'm leaking a little bit of confidence on, which is, just part of it. The more you dive into the Saints team, it's just like, my God, how do they keep winning? And a couple people asked me about Shuck because he is 200-1 to win Rookie of the Year. It really is just about the way their season can play out, right? It's not, do I really think this kid's going to beat out Tedero McMillan or Dart? Probably not, right? If you go look at those guys' numbers, much better. It's really just about how they end their season. The Saints, basically, if they win this game, they have kind of a cakewalk, Chad, and then there's like a outside chance scenario. The fact they play the Jets next week, that's a big deal, right? Like, okay, say they win those two games. Now he's got the most wins of all the rookie quarterbacks, right? He's up to 5 wins. That's not nothing. So just to me, people asked about, they're like, are you really betting 200-1 on Shuck to win Rookie of the Year? It's just an outside shot. If he can beat the Panthers, that'd be pretty crazy. Then he beats the Jets. Again, not as crazy. Then he's at Tennessee. That's a possibility. He outplays the other first number 1 overall pick. And then he's at Atlanta. So it's like none of those teams are juggernauts. There is a path for Shuck to go 4-0, 3-1 and put up some good numbers. I'll bet that 200-1. Like, I'll take those odds. I'll throw $10 on it. Why not? If you want to get really weird, you can throw him in there with McCaffrey, who's, I think, 18-1 to be Offensive Player of the Year. He might be 1,000 season. Like, you can bet those two together. All of a sudden you have 300-1. Like, you can really get fun with it with these long shot odds. So I had a couple of people ask, like, are you really betting Shuck to win Rookie of the Year? I don't really believe it. When I saw that schedule, it's like, I squinted my eyes a little bit. I'm like, I can see a path for 3-1. And if he can go 6 touchdowns, 1 turnover in that stretch, there's a path for him to get Rookie of the Year. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking for a fun long shot future.
Have a good time. Throw the Chiefs to make the playoffs in there too. Why not?
That's the craziest one of all. It's probably the worst odds.
Just go for it. Green Bay at Denver. This was Chad's choice. The Green Bay Packers -2. I think that the Packers, you and I had been struggling with the Packers all year because all of the advanced metrics keep saying how great they are, but they hadn't seemed dominant on the field, right? They were 9-3-1 heading into that Bears game. And what I saw in that Bears game was just a complete team. Now, the Bears were able to run the ball in the second half, but how they were able to cover overall and the way Jordan Love was able to respond to pressure, the fact they've gotten so many of their receivers back. I love this roster. I love the speed in their defense. I love the way Jordan Love throws against man coverage, which is what the Broncos are going to play. They're going to go against single high coverage, which is what Jordan Love loves to throw against. Everything about this matchup to me, I feel like I'm getting about a point of value. I think that the Packers should be 3-point favorites because I think the ultimate decision here, coaching is even, defense probably even. I think the difference is the quarterback, and that's worth a lot to me. Give me the Green Bay Packers. 2 points. Favorites.
Well, yeah, we both love the Packers, a game that no matter what, even if it was 2.5, I'd be all over it. Not going to let the hook scare me off. Just think matchup-wise, they're the better team. They should probably be -3, and tons of respect by the professionals on this Broncos team, right? For good reason. They're really well coached. They've really grinded out a lot of these games, and we've talked about it. Bo Nix, as much as he's regressed in some people's eyes this year, he's been incredible in these fourth quarters, leading his team to comeback wins, and it's just been really impressive. And I gave out that amazing stat by Evan Abrams. It's just a unique spot. This is another team, just like the Patriots. They've won 10 straight games, the Broncos, and now they are a home underdog. So since 2005, 8 teams have closed an underdog in this exact spot. 2-5-1 against the spread, these teams. So it lets you know right there, the Broncos, this is not a good spot. You might think it is. You're getting a home dog here. You're fired up, but long-term, it's just a loser. The books are kind of telling you, right? The professionals are telling you here which team is the better team. They just throw out the records, right? It matters what happens on the field. And you've seen it this year, in my opinion. The NFC, to me, is just a better conference than the AFC. Like, the AFC, some of these teams have so many more weaknesses than the NFC. And we talked, there's something missing with this Green Bay team. I don't know if the Broncos are the type of team that can exploit those type of scenarios. So I really do love them here. And, if it gets the 3, I get if you have some type of hesitation there, but hopefully you can get the -2.5. There should be out there still by Sunday. I just think professional money, anytime Broncos touch a 3, they'll hit it. So I'm hoping people won't be scared off by this one. I really love the Packers in this spot.
We're total agreement here. There's 2s and 2.5s out there if you're not in a Hard Rock State. So definitely look around. But yeah, the Packers are going to be in the contest. There's no doubt.
I did have a Chad stat I did want to give out just because Jay Cutler's in this stat. Packers are 1-7 in their history on the road in Denver. The only win came back in 2007 in overtime. Brett Favre beating Jay Cutler.
As Jay Cutler would say, don't care! Last game on the board that I want to talk about, I think should be our brass balls bet of the week.
Let's do it.
The Minnesota Vikings visiting the Dallas Cowboys. Are you with me? Are you with me on the Minnesota Vikings?
Love the
Minnesota Vikings. Should we make it our brass balls presented by Hard Rock Bet?
Let's do it. Definitely a ballsy bet.
All right, Minnesota Vikings +6 at Hard Rock Bet against the Dallas Cowboys. That is our brass balls bet of the week. Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
You know what it takes? It takes brass balls.
Forget about J.J. McCarthy for a second. The Vikings defense has been playing lights out the past few weeks, just getting better and better and better. And to me, what they can do to potentially neutralize Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys offense versus what the Cowboys can do to defend against anything that the Vikings are going to do is so much greater that I have to believe in what I've seen when Kevin O'Connell can just tell his quarterback and put him in a halfway decent position against a defense that is as bad as the one they just played in Washington. So I'm buying the Minnesota Vikings.
I don't hate it. Like I've talked a little bit about it. This is a game I early bet the Vikings, and it's kind of the way you talked about it. It's really a bet on their defense and this matchup that I do think they'll be able to get stops against the Cowboys. On the flip side, as bad as JJ's looked, you've seen him when he's on script, they can move the ball really well. And this is a great defense for KOC to script against. There's just a lot of things you can take advantage of. So, it's a rare opportunity. You have a Dallas Cowboys team as a big favorite against what we consider still being an undervalued Vikings team. And when you really break it down, they're not that different, really. I mean, as great as Dak has been, these two teams just aren't that different, and the public perceives it as totally different, right? I think you can see the numbers I'm looking at, which is basically 80% of the bets, 80% of the money, all of it's just coming in on this Dallas Cowboys team. And it is a unique spot back in Minnesota that we're not the biggest Minnesota backers here. We've not really been on them or gone against them that much this season, but this does feel like a unique spot with this number at 6 to be backing them.
For every season, there is a time, Simon.
Well, we have certain teams we lock in on. And I have
true.
a couple more games if you want to run through of just crazy stats for
Always.
Like I said, there's no one worse at the handicappy Tennessee Titans game. I believe on Tuesday, I said I was on the 49ers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I have flipped. I have been bullied by professional bettors. I am coming around on Tennessee. I'm going to take a position on Tennessee, but again, I don't know if we'll make it our contest, but
no fucking way. We're just not going to do it.
Wait till you hear these stats, Chad.
I don't want to hear the stats.
You're going to hear.
Simon, do we need Matt Mitchell to go back and pull the clip that we played on Tuesday? What did we say? What did we say?
It's not Sunday. I'm not putting in the contest show. I'm just giving you the stats for Thursday's show with our loyal fans.
Okay.
Which I hope they listen to me. I said to fade me.
This is on you. This is on you. I take no responsibility.
I did. No, Nelly. No, Nelly. Kyle Shanahan, and these 49ers, they are 4-8 against the spread off a bye week, which is pretty extreme. They've lost 3 straight. They're 1-5 off the bye week since 2021. When he faces a team below 500, Shanahan 0-3 off a bye week against the spread. So I don't know why in my mind I thought Shanahan was great off a bye week. I think I said that on Tuesday when I went and looked it up. It's atrocious off a bye week, and that's all I needed to flip me because I cannot get this Tennessee team right. And it's like, what am I missing here? Why are the pros betting this team again? And there's your answer. So let's move it on to the next game because, like Chad said, we're not going to be betting this one. Pittsburgh, Miami. Where were you at? You were on Miami, right? Or were you on Pittsburgh?
I was on Miami plus 3.5 on Tuesday.
That to me does feel like the sharp side, the 3.5. But if you're like me and you just don't want to throw out the spread, you want to go strict money line, which is what I want to do here. Some amazing stats about the Steelers money line in this exact opportunity. Since 1992 on Monday Night Football games, the Steelers are 22-1 straight up. Their only loss was in 2020 against the Commanders. I don't know if you remember 2020. There were no fans in the stands.
Yeah.
So throw it out. They're just unbelievable at home on Monday night. If you throw that one out, they're 22-0 straight up on Monday Night Football at home since 1992. In his career, Aaron Rodgers 11-2 straight up on Monday Night Football. So there's just a lot of trends that point to liking it. And then let's get to all the Tua stats. Tua outdoors in the cold, 2-7 straight up, 1-8 against the spread in his career. When it's under 40 degrees, he's 0-5 straight up, 1-4 against the spread, losing those games by 19 points per game. So, my God, we know Tua is horrible in the cold. I had no idea the stats were that bad. So, what Chad said can be true, right? This Miami team have been hiding Tua for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Can they just lean into the run and get away with it? Possibly. But, my God, do all those stats point to them just laying a total egg here in Miami, especially coming off a divisional win on the road, now traveling to Pittsburgh. It seems like the perfect spot to fade this team. So I'm still going to be dug in. Steelers -3. I'll still take it, but I could not believe those Monday night stats for this Pittsburgh team historically. They just came to dominate. And my last game, again, I think you more had to read on it than I did. I couldn't really get behind Washington or the Giants. I remember when you brought the game up. Did you like the Giants or did you like Washington? I don't remember.
I liked Washington. But at the time, I thought it might be Jaden Daniels. Now we know it's not going to be Jaden Daniels.
Which is to me is better. That's to me is why I kind of like Washington now. And the line reflects that. It's come down a little bit. It's come down from the 2.5 to 2. This is my favorite lazy man stat. We always talk about lazy man stats. I love give me a good stat. I don't need to think about the game anymore. I'll just bet it off this stat blindly. What have we been doing so well that we missed last week? We've been betting teams we bet on teams that get shut out.
Yeah.
And it's been tried or true for me and Chad for years. And the stats back it up since 2015. Teams that got shut on their previous game, 34-17-3 against the spread. This season, 4-0 against the spread. So if you just want to lazy man blindly bet it, it's a good bet. It just shows these teams that get shut out or embarrassed. These are grown-ass men. They bounce back. Like whatever it is, we've seen it time and time again. These teams tend to bounce back. The Commanders, if you go through it, they've owned the Giants in this matchup. Like I always talk these divisional matchups. The Commanders, who have just been awful throughout these last 4 or 5 years, even the Giants were semi-good with Daniel Jones. They'd always beat them in this matchup. So it is unique. I kind of like the Commanders, especially at +2.5. I know it's 2 now at Hard Rock. There's a bunch of 2.5s out there. I've come around on the Commanders team. I think it's probably a good spot, especially the fact that Mariota's back. And just looking at the splits, everyone's left them for dead. People are now hammering and backing this Giants team. They believe in the Giants as a home favorite. So it feels like a rare opportunity to jump on this Washington team here.
Look, that one is of the ones you added in. It's the one I hate the least.
Yeah, it was a gross ending of the show, but I had to give out all the stats. I love them.
Let's let everyone ponder the grossness that you just threw up onto the floor and get a word from our magnificent sponsors, Hard Rock Bet. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. The holidays are here and the sports schedule is packed tighter than Santa's gift bag. Week 15 football, bowl games, NBA, college, hoops, hockey, the whole sports sleigh is loaded. And on Hard Rock Bet, there's always something to unwrap and bet on. New customers can sign up and bet $5 on any game. If it wins, you'll find $150 in bonus bets on top of your winnings, stuffed in your stocking. Now that's holiday magic. Not sure what to place your first bet on? Hard Rock Bet just launched a brand new For You page, making it easier to find all your favorite teams, players, and leagues all in one place. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook anytime you're in the beautiful state of Florida, and it's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan. Coming soon to more states too. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos daily, so whenever you're listening, just open the app and check out what you've got any day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit. All right. What are you laughing at?
I have tons of people sending me all these videos from people in sports media about Jalen Hurts. Like, it's just a crazy time in Philly. Like, Philly media, it's all about the clicks. We know the deal. But people are like, should Hurts be benched? Is he playing for his job this next game? I just love it so much.
I saw that. I saw like he got someone asked like Sirianni a question about that. I'm like, this is idiotic.
Yeah,
there are certain things that go on in sports media that are just so dumb. And this is one of the dumbest.
I know. And just, again, why I'm laughing is because it popped in my head right away where it's like, Matt Mitchell, again, now this is not the shit on Josh Allen. Matt Mitchell said he's willing to die for Josh Allen, a man that's never even won an AFC championship game. Eagles fans have a quarterback that's taken them 2 Super Bowls. They're saying, should this guy be benched?
Should it be?
This guy? It's just two worlds. We live in two worlds, Chad, and the other world sucks. I can't imagine being in a world that you want to sit Hurts and you hate Josh Allen. Those people just suck.
That's why I so love Philly sports fans, but also so love Buffalo sports fans. They are such distinct personalities. Like, it's just so much fun to engage with both groups all of the time. It's totally amazing. The reason why that Matt Mitchell said he would die for Josh Allen is because Simon the other day sent in our group text chain a video of Josh Allen being interviewed when he had just gotten to Wyoming and he was the second string backup quarterback, and they're asking him about the snow, and he's so wholesome and earnest. He's like
stuttering over his own words. He's so young and sweet.
So young and sweet and innocent, like a babe in the woods. He's like, I've never seen snow like this. He's like, what do you like to do? Well, I just want to go out to eat with my friends and, play football, anything football related. It's like this guy eventually married Haley Steinfeld.
It became Superman. It's crazy.
Became a Superman. Totally awesome. Matt Mitchell makes good choices in his heroes. All right, Simon, what are your biggest bets?
I mean, I show my hand a little bit. Love the Rams, obviously.
You do? That didn't come across.
Yeah, took a position. Chad read it. Pretty good. I do love the Chiefs. I'm getting a little weary because it's so much love. Like, everyone I talk to is right there with us. So I've slowed down a little bit. But I do really love the Chiefs in that spot. We talk a little about the Bills. I really like the Bills, and it's not one of my bigger bets right now, but I can see myself getting there. So we just sit here right now. My 2 biggest bets for sure: Green Bay, the 2.5, and the Rams -5.5. I haven't touched so much the Rams at 6, but I wouldn't let it scare me off. I'll still bet it come Sunday.
Underdog parlay. I have New Orleans. I have Cincinnati. I have Washington.
Love it.
I have Minnesota.
Okay, I love that too.
Minnesota.
And for our last one,
Cleveland? I was looking for a decent sized number.
You know what? I get where you're coming from. Let me be the bigger scumbag here. Give me the Raiders plus 490.
I knew you were going to say that.
I got to do it. Again, I think they're going to win. They should blow out this Raiders team, but we've seen in football when teams collapse under their own weight, this tends to happen. So just at that number, I have to bet it. That's too big for the
You
Eagles.
really just want the conversation about Jalen Hurts to continue.
Not at all. I want to make money off the suffering. That's the key here.
Favorite, by the way, the only of the big numbers, Seattle, Indy, and Arizona, and Houston, and Vegas and Philly. I forgot the other big number that we were talking about before. Tennessee. Vegas and Philly is the only one that's moved in the direction of the underdog. It was a 12.5. Now it's 11.5, 11. The other ones have just gone up, except for Arizona, which is holding strong. So we know the wise guys are on Vegas here. Who's our favorite parlay? I feel like we got to go. We got to go with the Rams.
Yeah, Green Bay, Chiefs,
Kansas City, Buffalo.
Bills. What'd you say?
Buffalo.
Obviously, I gave him that stat, the Pittsburgh one.
I was just gonna say Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's gotta be a play.
All right. Sharp versus square.
Sharp versus square.
We tied last week. We tied.
I'll do. Because I tend to go dogs here because I'm just so much better at them. But I'll go. I got to do it, I guess. I'll go Rams -6.
Okay. Rams -6. Chad, let's see. Chad's choice was the Packers. Simon Says was the Saints. Brass Balls was the Vikings. I think I'm going to go with the Bills.
I love it.
You think I just jinxed Matt Mitchell? Is that what you're saying?
A little bit. Again, I'm already jinxing them. I love the Bills so much here too, and it's just that's how history happens. Like I said, it's the ones you don't see coming that hurt the most, and that's what I'm worried about here, brother.
Well, look, we're riding a knife's edge all season with some of these teams, right? Like trying to get off the wagon with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, like trying to see where the transition. This is betting. You're trying to see the future. It doesn't always work out. When we reconvene on Sunday, we're going to be talking about the Chiefs, the Bills, Cleveland will have a conversation, the Rams, New Orleans will be in the conversation, Green Bay, Minnesota, maybe Washington. That's what I think. Maybe Washington. Those are going to be the games from which we choose our final five, if I had to make a prediction. This has been Sharper Square, part of the Volume Podcast Network. We'll be back on Sunday morning, Sharper Square, YouTube. Don't forget you can eavesdrop on this very intimate conversation as we try to plan for the misery and glory of the day. We'll be back on Sharper Square YouTube Sunday night, 7:30-ish, after America's Game of the Week ends. We're going to recap all that misery. Watch or listen on YouTube at Sharper Square. Download from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.
Together we can do it. Nobody can do it alone, but together we can do it. Let's play our kind of football, and we'll come out of it with a win. Let's go.